and I'm tired of wishing divorce on people. I'm not wishing divorce on people. I just want them to not be in situations that they're clearly not happy in, and both of them aren't. Hi you guys, my name is Derrick Rashid and welcome to my channel. Welcome back for another episode recap of 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After ? And on this episode we do a lot of picking up. So we first pick up with Kailani and Asuelu. They are back from Washington and we are back in Utah. We're with Kailani and her mother in the kitchen, and basically they're just recapping to see what's been going on since they got back from Washington. And Kailani's mom, Lisa, is like, hey, did you guys talk anymore about therapy or anything like that? And Kailani's like, no. Every time I try to push the conversation with him, he's like, I don't want to talk about what happened in Washington. I just want to leave that in the past. And we all know that you can't live a life, especially in a relationship, where you have to communicate with someone else. You can't just brush things under the rug all the time. At some point, everything's going to come out and it's probably not going to be good. So since we're already having issues talking, a therapist would be a good mediator. So Kailani has this conversation with Asuelu and he's like, where are we in our relationship? How bad is it? And she's like, if we don't go to therapy, there will not be a relationship. So this is kind of the ultimatum that I'm giving you. Therapy, you have an unbiased third party. What a concept. Asuelu agrees, but he does want a male Samoan therapist to understand his side of things. I don't know if Asuelu's ventured around his city or whatever, but they live in Utah and Utah is primarily white people. So that's probably gonna be a hard thing. And Kailani lets him know, on the way to the therapy session, that it is a male, but he is white and there are no Samoan therapists that she could find. But there is a translator so that Asuelu can communicate in his native tongue should he need to, and that can be translated accordingly. The therapy session overall is good. They both say their pieces. Obviously, it seems as though both of them want to work out the issue. Kailani basically lives in a very new American today kind of situation, very feminist, where we're equal, you're not going to tell me what to do. And Asuelu comes from a culture where the man is the head of the household and the woman is to serve and follow, and those two things don't mix. So the therapist basically said, when you come from these types of backgrounds, you have to basically clean slate it. So he gives them this assignment to go ahead and both of them write down what they want their household to be, which is something they probably should have done in the beginning. After they leave the therapy session, Asuelu does say that he wants Kailani to try to mend things with his family, but both of them need to put boundaries down with their families on what they will and won't allow in their relationship. And that's the only way this is going to work. We pick up with Colt and Jess. They're in the house. Jess is still going on about the 8 women, the nudes, all the above. And Colt's like, I'm sorry, I just been a really bad boyfriend to you and blah, 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 blah. And by the way, Vanessa moved in a few weeks ago and I just want to come clean because I'm tired of lying. We're tired of lying now after literally the entire time we've known Colt. All he's done is lie. All he's done is gaslight. All he's done is play the victim to a lot of things with Larissa, with Jess. Jess doesn't want any of it. You can just tell that she's getting more and more frustrated. Her emotions are starting to get the better of her, and she's just, at this point, I honestly was expecting her to knock his glasses off. And I'm not one for violence or anything like that, but I just expected it after the whole entire shoe situation. But Debbie decides that she wants to peek her head downstairs and what's going on here? And it's girl, business, get you some, because obviously nothing's going on here that pertains you. So she comes down and she sits down and she joins the conversation, and she has the nerve, the absolute nerve, to say that she feels sorry for Jess, but she feels like she brought this all upon herself, as if her entire man-child of a son isn't sitting right there and deserves all the blame. So Jess starts talking to Debbie. She's like, let's just talk woman to woman. Like, if you were in my shoes and your boyfriend told you that he moved another woman who you already weren't comfortable with a relationship because of the history that they have, would you be okay with that? And she says, no, but nah. There's no but. It was a yes or no question, and that's that. So you're okay with your son doing things to other people that you wouldn't tolerate. Colt basically dismisses Debbie to go back up into her room, and Colt pulls this whole, oh, I love you, and no, you don't. No, you don't. Why are we continuing to lie at this point? We all know at this point that there is no more relationship. Jess just leaves. After Jess leaves, Colt basically like wallows in self-pity and goes straight to the liquor cabinet to make himself feel better about being a horrible person. Back in Nigeria, we pick up with Angela and Michael, and it is, I believe, the day after. It has to be the day after. The day after the bachelorette party, and Angela hasn't seen Michael all day because her and Joe left for the day, and I guess they went exploring around the city and whatnot, and they come back and Angela decides that now's the time that she wants to have a conversation with Michael. But before the entire conversation starts, Michael pulls out a delivery that they received earlier today, and it is the bouquet. I have no words for this bouquet. She's like, I want to marry you, but like, I don't know if I can go through with this because when I leave for the States, like, will I be able to trust you? And we've never been able to trust Michael. Like, I don't think there's been one moment in time in this relationship that Angela has literally said that she trusts this guy. So I don't understand why in literally the final hours that now it's a thing that you're really concerned about. Michael apologizes and says he's going to change like he does every single time before, and they, I guess, kiss and make up and everything's fine. They wake up the next day. They have a little cute moment in the bedroom. After all of the like anger and arguments and everything that we've seen from them this entire season, it's nice to see them not angry for a moment. So they get ready for the wedding, they leave and they head off to the venue. Now, I think the crown thing is tacky. It's tacky, the bouquet is tacky, like, but yeah, we basically end the episode with these two and they're in positions for the wedding. Michael's up at the altar, and is it an altar if it's an outside wedding? And Angela's ready to walk down the aisle. So I guess next episode's when they're gonna get married. Back in Moldova, we have Libby and Andre and the rest of the holding cell crew. Chuck, Charlie, and Jen. That's the holding cell crew. If you didn't know, now you know. They're walking around town and apparently they're supposed to be like discussing final things regarding the wedding and just making sure that everything is gonna be okay. And they stumble upon a punching bag machine, and apparently per Andre, like, these are all over Moldova. And I'm like, that's a little bit weird. So they have a little moment and they all punch the freaking bag, and then the conversation sparks up about the holding cell crew going to meet up with Marcel and how that conversation went. And Andre is obviously upset because they keep bringing up the same thing. Andre basically says that whatever Marcel told them was the truth, which was they were cops, the police force is corrupted, and they were told to do some things and they didn't want to do it, so they ended up leaving. And apparently Libby doesn't know this, and it's very obvious that Libby does not know this because when the entire Moldovan leg of this entire season started, Andre said that all Libby knows is that he went to Ireland to get more money. But during this conversation, he's telling Libby like, oh, we already talked about this. And she's like, no, we didn't. You already told us what you told her. And what you told her wasn't what you're telling them now. It's only part. Andre and Libby are walking back, I guess, to his parents' house, I guess it is, and she wants to have this conversation with him and just air everything out. So she's like, if you don't tell me everything, I'm not gonna marry you. He basically retells everything, and he adds at the end, like, if I didn't do this, I could have lost my life or lost someone close to me. So I basically got out of the situation scot-free. So there's no ties that I have with them. I'm good. We're on good standing, and that's just that. And Libby's like, well, why didn't you tell me that in the first place? Because how everything came out, it just didn't seem right. And that's that on them. So I guess they're also going to get married next episode too. Over in South Africa, we have Tanya and Shenzhen, who get in the car for one last day of family time because I guess their trip is finally coming to an end, and they basically go to this winery situation type deal. I don't know what it is. It's called like Wineland or something. The conversation obviously ends up turning to the incident that happened at the Bri. Everyone basically gives their little feedback on what happened. Tanya says, yes, I can be a little bit controlling. The stepdad's like, remember, words are powerful. And the mom's like, she was a little bit hurt by the situation. And it goes into this entire thing. And basically everyone is on Shenzhen's side, it seems as though. Like, Shenzhen is coming from this carefree life with no responsibilities and everything, and now he has all these responsibilities. And I'm like, baby, it's been more than 2 years. That's more than what, 730 days. Like, this isn't all of a sudden. But since the conversation is just very Shenzhen sided, like, I'm done with it. Tanya and Shenzhen end up meeting with Shenzhen's old roommates again. And it's basically the same thing. They get in a conversation, and it comes up about her being controlling, and she's like, no, I'm not. I just like a little bit of structure and da-da-da. It's the same conversation that happens every episode with these two while we're in South Africa. I don't know. I have no more words for them. But Shenzhen's friend also says, like, oh, I've known Shenzhen for 10 years, and the person that he is today is not the same person that he was 10 years ago. I would hope so. I would truly hope so, that after 10 years of being an adult, that shit would have changed. Like, I guess there are different types of people in the world. Some people just want to be carefree beach bums, like couch surf. They want to do that and they're content with that. But I feel as though most people don't. So then we just go back to the same thing, like they're not compatible, and why are they together? We fly back over to Kentucky to meet up with Paul and Karini, who are in the car, and it's raining and all this stuff. And where do we end up at? We end up at a water treatment plant. Yep. Paul takes Karini to a water treatment plant. I'm over Paul in this entire thing. Like, she wants you to get a job. She wants you to provide. That's basically all she wants. But he has another, like, he has an ulterior motive to this entire thing. He's gonna go through this tour with his guy around the water plant with his family in hopes that when he asks if they're hiring, if he could have a job, that this will somehow pull on this man's heartstring. So they go on this little funky behind tour, and I say funky because it is a water treatment plant. They go on this funky behind tour in the rain with Pierre. At the end of the day, all they got was a poop water tour and no job. But Paul says that he has enough money to fly back to Brazil for a little bit, and that's his way of compromising with Karini in hopes to smooth things over. I have no words for them. I have no words for a lot of these couples. Like, this is, like, where is the happily ever after? Like, I don't feel like anyone's getting the happily ever after. I guess that's why there's a question mark there. Can we have one couple that we're rooting for? Back over in Vegas, we meet up with Larissa, who tells us that she got a phone call from someone and they wanted to meet up. She walks into this restaurant situation and it's Jess. And I'm like, girl, like, we know y'all know each other. You called her. Her phone number is probably still saved. Oh, the ice cream truck is here. Oh, I want to go to the ice cream truck. Okay. Jess tells Larissa that she broke up with Colt and that she kind of just wishes that she heeded Larissa's advice from when their conversation happened. They get on this whole entire bashing session of Colt, and it's like, okay, that's cool or whatever, but like, let's not act like both of y'all didn't go back to this man several times knowing that he was trash. He showed you who he was and you decided to continue to go back several times, several arrests, several fights. Like, Jess tells Larissa that there were 8 girls that Colt sent photos to, and she mentioned Vanessa living in the house, and Larissa's like, Vanessa? I know Vanessa. Vanessa was involved in my relationship as well, which, if I'm not mistaken, that means that Colt lied to us about his entire relationship with Vanessa, because I believe he said that he met Vanessa after he and Larissa already broke up, and she helped him get over the divorce. But what Larissa's saying is that Vanessa was already there because she bought him a Christmas present while they were still married. But that's it, you guys. That's it for this episode. I think we're coming to an end. We might only have a couple episodes left because we're getting to the wedding situation. Why are people getting married if this is called Happily Ever After? Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and please remember to follow me on socials. I have Instagram, I have Twitter. My handles are at Derrick_Rashid, just like it is with this channel. Only the channel does not have the underscore. And until next time, guys,